welcome. Hello, everyone. So, in this live stream, we are going to be talking about art, and I'm really excited to be on this live and to be sharing with y'all because girl, in the Diva universe, we are all about dating ourselves, going out, and just enjoying our life. So, I went to see Marina Abramovic. Excuse me if I'm pronouncing her name incorrect. Truth is, I didn't do any research on her because I learned about her when I started studying in the art academy. And I was just very I was very in shock of her art. And I didn't want to do any research on her because I didn't want to read on any of the stories of or reviews and the judgments or whatever. I just wanted to have like a clear impression of her art. So there was this opportunity and she's here in Euro touring. So I went to her exhibition and it was also a performance. And I I I found the whole experience very interesting because her work is very spiritual, and I knew what it was a bit spiritual, but it is very spiritual. It was not, because the thing is, what I received from of being in that space and just seeing her work and a bit of the beginning of her as leading performing artist is that she breaks, or she surpass the boundaries. She's trying to break or surpass the boundaries of the body and the spirit. And I think that it requires a certain type of energy to be able to even hold this space to have this type of expression. Because the thing is, how I view art is as an expression. It's just an expression of the divine. That is how I view art, artists, creators. And that's the expression is very different depending on the person. And in her case, she is her thing is very social, but it's also very personal, because she is the object, she used her body as an object, and she put herself in these positions where people can do anything to her. They can stab her, they can do all these things to her, and she just uses her body as the tool, as the instrument. And to be able to hold that space, because the thing is, it's very interesting to see also, it reflects back onto the humans, onto their behavior and things like that, because at that time, of course, the reaction was that people were hit her, paint on her, do all these things to her, like they would do whatever, and she would just allow it. You would see no judgment, nothing in these videos, documentary of her performances. And I was just like, wow, to see. It's very interesting to see how sometimes it is such a clear reflection back to human behavior, how you can give someone everything and the first thing they think of is to abuse it or to misuse it. It's almost like the phrase of giving a hand and they're taking the whole giving a hand and they're taking the whole arm, which is a Spanish thing that we say. And then to see that these people, like, they do this, all of this to her, and then for her it's just an expression of the performance, an expression of her breaking the limitations of this physical body to the extent of the spirit, to see what it's able to hold, the capacity. And I think that that is a very powerful, it's a very powerful place to be at, because honestly it can go different directions. Like it can completely shift um, her experience with human behaviors because of how they act, but also for her to be able to still hold that energy, in a sense of not letting that affect her, how she cares and love, and keeps expressing and creating her art. So it is, it was so interesting to see these performances. I feel like, of course, also when I was inside, it felt very, it felt very dark. I felt like I needed to protect my energy while I was in the space. And also, when I got to the part of the performance where there was there was this girl, full body naked, and she was just holding on. Her body was holding onto a thing that looked like a dildo, and she was just hanging off the wall in that shape. I think it's part of her performance, and of a series that she's been performing over the years. So I think that right now they have volunteers, so they have these models or these people be doing this act for like 5 hours, whatever. And it's so interesting to see that space, because I finished watching the whole documentation, all of the other things, and then I saw the performance last. And in the performance, the room was round, and she was like hang on the wall, and there was this yellow rectangle around her. It almost looked like a portal. And when you enter the room, it was completely a circle, and all the people like surrounding, looking at this naked woman. And around the surroundings on the wall, they were like, of course, her artwork, her performances, videos, stuff like that. And I just walk around to see her artwork. I don't pay much mind to the performance, because I don't find it wasn't interesting for me to see. And also because it felt like, looking at it felt like it was like pulling your energy, and I didn't like that. So I didn't pay attention to it, and I just saw the other stuff on the wall. And what was amazing for me to see is all the people surrounded and just looking at her, and just looking at the performance, and see her just, you know, be there like a cross. I didn't understand why they felt so entertained by it. I really didn't, because every time that I looked at it, I just felt this pull, and I was like, no, 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 I'm not gonna look at this. So I just kept looking at the thing and just walking around it, and I took a few pictures. And I even took a picture of the whole set of that performance, the condition of it, because it was all written on the wall. And it said something about spirit, and I found that so interesting, because it was like, for me, when looking at both of these, it was a reflection of both spirits, of the spirits of the girl, in the sense of her being the channel, and then the spirit of all those people looking at her performing this performance. So, and it was so crazy that she just kept in that blank stare, and it was this white rectangle thing around her, because that gave me the impression of portal, you know. So it was just interesting to see how people were just captivated by this simple behavior, because she was just there naked, exposing all of herself, and blank stare. And no matter how many people entered or walked away in the room, her stare kept in that zone. Like, it is a true art to be so in a hypnosis that the amount of energy, because all of the people are there looking at her, they're probably judging her, they're probably taking stuff that are, you don't know, they're throwing all these energies to her. So she's just there in that performance and completely hypnotized in it. So I think that that also requires a certain type of mastery to be able to hold that. And there is all type of people. You see, like the old, you know, the los viejitos, like the old people on the chair, just like sitting there on the floor. Like people are not even watching what is going on. They're just like there for the vibes. And what I also find interesting is that around her, there was these stellium crystals, and both of them were in the shape of a shoe, so you could stand in it and put your feet in it. And that was so interesting for me to see, because as I was walking around it and I was seeing all this stellium, and then her being up there with the white shade around her, I was thinking, okay, I think the intention of that was so people can stand there. And what do you happens when you stand on a stand? Your energy is gonna go through it, and especially if it's a crystal made for your feet, like legit, it has the two shapes for you to put your feet in. And I was like, oh my god, this is a whole, like, I think the whole setup of everything is just, it was super. I'm staring at you. Okay, that's good or not. But the whole performance of that was just super interesting to see, and seeing people being captivated by all of that. It was very fascinating for me to see the captivation and her being able to hold that energy. So I really enjoyed watching her art, her performance, her work. However, I think it's very spiritual and you gotta be careful. The energy was very much more like, it felt like it wanted to take my energy. So when I was walking in there, I was very much like, you know, in my energy, so that it's like, I'm just here to see this experience, because I find it interesting to see how art expresses itself. Because I feel like art expresses itself so many different ways, so differently. Of course, she's doing it very much in the dark side of it, but she's doing it beautifully. It's very unique what she's doing. To put yourself in situations, to get in and out of your conscious, to challenge your body and your physical human experience to that extent of art, is, it takes a discipline. So yes, exactly, art really makes you think, and that is the thing that I love about it. It really helps you to see things differently, and that is why I went to that show, to see the different expressions of art and its expression, because I think it keeps expanding and growing. That's why I love looking at museum, going to graduation shows. So that was my review of the Marina Abramovic museum exposition, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.